This week on Most Craved,
Don't mess with Dr. Doom.
The Evil Dead is getting its own series.
Yep, and we're here.
And these guys.
Yeah, unless we've stumbled into the wrong studio. Is this Jeopardy?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to take American presidents for 100.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Most Craved. I'm William Bibbiani with CraveOnline.
I'm Jenna Busch with Legion of Leigh.
And joining us today are Leigh, Whannell, and Angus Sampson from the new movie The Mule. You may know them from Insidious, but they have a new movie that's about not pooping. So,
It literally is about that.
tell us a little bit about this movie.
Is that what you call it? Pooping?
Yeah, sure.
You're at home or at a restaurant, you say, I have to go poop.
I have to poop. I used
That's
that.
the term.
When I was a kid, I actually used to say I have to take a bowel movement, and everyone was like, "You're a kid, you should say poop."
Well, what's the language policy on this show?
Oh, you can say whatever the hell you want.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
So if I was to say it's about a guy not taking a shit, that would be fine.
That would be fine.
It's fine with us.
Oh, excellent.
Unless it got beeped in post, I think we're fine.
What if we were to show you?
Then does it stray?
We might need a little bar over that.
Sure.
Well, it is interesting describing the
no.
plot for this film because the film is loosely based on a true story. It's about a young man played by Angus Sampson here who is coerced by my character into muling drugs from Thailand, heroin specifically. He reluctantly agrees to do it. He swallows 20 or 21...
2.2 pounds.
Yeah, 2.2 pounds of heroin in these packages, these condoms. You wrap it up. He swallows them all, gets back to Melbourne Airport, freaks out because he's nervous, and freaks out so much that the customs officials at the airport are like, right, we suspect you've got something in your stomach. They take him aside, and his solution to the whole problem of the police waiting on him to produce the evidence is to not go to the toilet. That's where the true story comes in. A guy in New Zealand, I think in the early 90s, was caught at an airport in New Zealand, and the cop said, we suspect you have drugs in your stomach. And he said, all right, well, I just won't go to the toilet. You won't have any evidence. And he actually held out for 21 days, not going.
Wow.
Is he alive? Like, how did
He
that...
is alive.
Okay.
Eventually they came out and he was busted and they were there. And Angus and I just thought that was a really kind of ingenious concept for a thriller. Like the ticking clock of this movie is a guy's bowels. And we're really happy with it. We wanted to use this concept of someone not going to the toilet, not to mine it for comedy, but to actually mine it for a thriller. Usually anything in movies that's to do with toilets or anything to do with that is usually mined for comedy. Gross out humor. It's some guy who's taken a bunch of laxatives is on the famous Jeff Daniels scene from Dumb and Dumber. We were wondering, what if you took a subject like that and approached it like a Coen Brothers thriller, where people were on the edge of the seat wondering, when is this guy going to take a shit?
It's totally true. And when I watched it, though, there was definitely one moment where I was like, oh, no, you'll know what it is.
There is a scene in the movie that everyone
Yeah.
talks about. We probably don't want to ruin it for
No.
the viewers, but,
no.
That needs to be a
really
surprise.
hard to watch. Angus just got back from the London Film Festival and he told me there was a big reaction from the audience during that scene.
Without giving it away, I guess, it's such a ridiculous premise, and a perverse premise as well. The reason he decides to try to not go to the bathroom is the law states that without any evidence, he's not just being stubborn and petulant, he does actually have an end goal in sight, which is that without any evidence, the police have to let him go. But
After 7 days. They can only hold you without charge for 7 days.
And they can't x-ray him without his permission, and they can't inspect him internally without his permission. So they take him to a hotel room, they put him under lock and key for 24/7. They stop the water, take out the taps, block the toilet, block the air conditioning units, lock the windows. And so there's this premise that I guess that Leigh was, sort of alerted to me early on, was what an incredible jumping off point to you can't stop your digestive system. It's like your heartbeat. So you have lethal narcotics inside you. You've got acid eating at them from the outset, and any of them perforate, you die immediately.
And
Or
you-
get
and you're being-
superpowers, as we
Or
learned.
get-
Yes,
or-
or you
or
could get
can take
Or you
superpowers.
can get
Some losing.
superpowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's also being watched 24 hours. There's never a moment when they leave him in this room on his own. So the question becomes, how do you get out of a situation like that? You know. And also, to me, interestingly, can you root for a guy who's essentially a drug mule?
Yeah.
Yes, you
what
can.
he's done is wrong.
Well, I mean,
Yes, you
like,
can.
you guys have a lot of experience in horror, and like a lot of the times the audience is sort of rooting for, terror and scary,
Right.
and even for the bad guy, So I guess that's just my clumsy segue into talking about, because we want to talk about Evil Dead 2 before we run out of
Oh,
time.
of course, we should.
But they're doing an Evil Dead TV series starring Bruce Campbell. First episode is going to be directed by Sam Raimi. As guys in the horror genre, are you excited by that, or you feel like what a sellout?
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm very excited that they're getting Bruce Campbell back. Because the thing for me is when they did the remake, I was disappointed. I mean, I don't want to be disparaging towards anyone else in the industry, but I was disappointed because I feel like they missed the key ingredient of an Evil Dead film is the humor, really. It's the humor is what
Yeah.
made the Evil Dead film so great. And they forgot that. It was just the gore, and I was disappointed by the remake. And so when I hear that they're doing a TV series, but they're taking it back to the Bruce Campbell character working at S-Mart, I'm so excited. If they're not going to make a film, then I'll take this consolation prize.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. And in some ways, it's better than a film because instead of 90 minutes, you get 10 eps.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think they're, what, a half an hour each? Are
I
they
guess.
short?
I don't know. I actually didn't see the
How do you
runway.
guys feel about it? Do you,
I think
I want to know what happens to them. I totally want to know what happened to him.
there's so
after
many
those films.
unexplored aspects of Evil Dead, like as a mythology.
Right.
It's basically just the Deadites are Deadites and they do Deadite stuff. And what can't they do? I don't know, Deadite stuff. I don't know. Like what do you want? Like there were no rules.
Right.
So my one concern is that it might almost be too confined in TV, because now that we have so much time to delve into it, we're going to want to explain it all. And I kind
Right.
of don't want it explained all, but I want it to be just about Ash. He is now, however old Bruce Campbell is, what is he, like 40? And like he's
I think he might be a little older than 40.
played it safe there, and I
yeah,
like it. Just in
Bruce,
case
come
he's
on the
going to
show.
one day.
You're amongst friends. But no, like I just want to see him as his charming douchebag self.
That's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
that's actually what I think is the more interesting angle for the TV show is don't make it about the Deadites, make it about Ash, who you know from the first films, is now past middle age. He's still working at S-Mart. Maybe he's the manager now. His life hasn't... Make it about his personal issues and how his life... Because, he was a pretty grumpy character. I actually think that's a funny character to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're going to root for somebody who's not the
Yeah,
nicest
yeah.
person in the world, which is my clumsy segue. See what I did there?
Into
okay,
Bubba Ted.
into Dr. Doom. Okay, so Toby Kebbell did an interview, and he explained the Dr. Doom that we're going to get in the Fantastic Four movie. His name is not Victor Von Doom. He is a blogger, and his handle is Doom. Now, okay, I'm a comic book fan. I can handle retconning to a point, but this seems a little too clever to me. I love Dr. Doom.
I think it's nowhere near clever.
Yeah, well,
Right.
That's me.
clever in air quotes, but and look, when I did the show with Stanley, that he would talk consistently about how he loves Dr. Doom, how he's a leader of Latveria, and he would say, "Latveria, it sounds like a real country, doesn't it?" I can't do a good Stanley, but I don't know. This is not a character you mess with.
It sounds like, to me, this sounds like a filmmaker's revenge against the bloggers that have taunted him over the years. Like, I know what I'll do. I'll make the villain a blogger, and that'll be my revenge. Like Birdman. You were talking about
Yeah,
Birdman. where
Birdman
a villain
demonizes a
villain
critic.
of the movie is a critic.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times. I think filmmakers, directors, or writers, they will take vengeance against their critics through the characters.
Yep.
So they'll make the idiot the critic. Or
Did you ever see The Raven? Mm-hmm. With
No.
the John Cusack
no,
movie? where
I
he's
never
Edgar
saw
Allan
that.
Poe?
Wait.
So
That's the one where he played Edgar Allan Poe solving crimes.
Yeah,
Right.
which is a cute idea, but like there's a guy who gets pit in the pendulum, and then at the end it was like, well, how bad is this? Should we talk to his family? And he's like, oh no, he was just a critic. And I'm like, I'm in the
was just a
theater
critic.
at a critic screening going, I'm right here. Like, what do you want from me?
My favourite one is with the film Armageddon. I think they did an early screening of it at Cannes. And it's just the wrong place for a film like
Yeah.
that, this big Hollywood action movie. And of course, all the French critics were like, "It's trash," and they were laughing at it. And so they went and did a pickup on that film and destroyed Paris. Like that was Michael Bay's revenge. You see an asteroid come down, literally big CGI shot of Paris blowing up, cut back to the sort of White House war room, and it's just blown off like, what happened? Paris just blew up. And the guy's like, meh, who needs the frogs anyway? You know, like it's just blown off. Like, I love that he's so petty that he went back and inserted a shot in the film just to get revenge against the film critics.
That's kind of awesome. Well, to be fair, we bloggers are sometimes evil.
Well, I feel like they started with, what's the defining characteristic of Dr. Doom? Well, he's an egomaniac. Oh, I've got it. Like, that's the perfect job for this.
It makes me want to see, Charlie Kaufman, obviously he's a screenwriter I love, and he wrote a film that I don't think got made. It's called, you might know it, it's Frank or, it's something like that. It's like Frank or Francis. I'm getting it terribly wrong, but I don't think the film got made, but one of the characters was a film blogger. The story of the film, according to what I read online, was a blogger taunting a filmmaker. They were like enemies, and this guy just wouldn't stop jabbing at him. And I really wanted to see that for that reason, to see his take on... Because it is a new world, isn't it? It used to be critics wrote for major newspapers. Now in the internet age, everyone's a critic. And somebody can, not just kids at home who are like, I thought this sucked, but somebody can set up their own website and get themselves in the game, get themselves in there.
Even if they haven't learned maybe the rules of propriety, or even just if you're on Twitter. You can just yell at someone like, I thought your movie sucked, James Cameron, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, have you found that with the Mule though, Angus? Like, have you, because mostly it's been positive for the Mule, but have you found internet reviews coming from weird places or?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like on anything you do. You end up, whenever we do a press tour, the interviewers get younger.
Yeah.
They get, they get like 20, 21.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank you. Like Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Younger and more unprofessional. It's like, I think I have I forgot my tape.
It's sort of in more, and they happen in more stranger and stranger spaces where you sort of used to be, on a phone or in a hotel room. Now it's like, oh, can we just do it in the stairwell? It's just like, sure. And it's like,
not creepy at
I'm just
all.
recording it on, on my Nokia. And you're like, okay. And you're like, I guess you must be legitimate. But yeah, I mean, fundamentally.
Where are you from again?
Yeah.
Oh,
my basement.
Fort John High School. So.
I'm like, go back to school. I'm your teacher. I'm your parents out the front. I mean, fundamentally, you end up, how do you get ahead of the game? When you start out, do you have to be critical? Actually, or do you have to be really articulate and insightful?
Well, I think you should be both. Honestly, you should be able to have a strong opinion about things, but then articulate it in a way that is, one, entertaining, and two...
But when you sit down to write a review, are you there saying, you know what, I need to save my readers their time and energy? Like, I need to warn them that this is a...
I rarely had to warn anybody about a film, but for the most part, like I'll try to pull it apart, but it takes just as much energy to make a bad movie as it does to make a good one, and all those people put in all of that work. So even if I don't like it, I'm still going to try to find the good and the bad about it. I don't want to.
I always try to take every film really seriously because, it's sometimes you have a limit of it's 600 words, but they took years to make some of these things.
Yeah.
The least you could do is think about it, even if you don't like it. Even if you're trying to say, here's why I don't think this is worth your time and money. At the very least, these people tried to do something. Yeah. So you guys tried to do The Mule, and we want to thank you for that. I've seen it. I thought it was actually really great. I actually do. I thought it was really suspenseful and fun, and it's really different, and I really admire that. Is it available right now, or is it coming out
It comes out November 21st.
Okay.
In the States, it comes out November 21st on iTunes and on demand. It also comes out in Australia and Canada on the same day. It'll be released in limited theaters in the States, but we're really keen to push the iTunes, VOD digital aspect of it, just because people anywhere can have access to it. In some ways, I feel like digital release platforms have replaced the local independent theater.
Totally.
That's where I watch independent films now, is at home in the living room. So we really want people to see it, and the trailer for the film is actually the third most watched trailer in the US on the Apple Trailers page at the moment.
Fantastic,
so it's exciting.
Man. That's great. It's great for you guys. It's great for your ass. And
it is good for that.
I have seen it.
I'm pointing at her. And it's great for most Crave. So we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.